What's good, everybody? It's your boy Courtlandt Griffin back with another halftime show. You know what it is. We coming with sports news. We're talking some NBA today. I got a very special, near and dear person, guest who on the show, near and dear to my heart. I call him my big brother, mentor. He's been doing this for a long time. He can probably talk more NBA than I know. He's probably forgotten more NBA than I can remember. So it's my guy, big brother, Danny Thompson. What's good, Danny?
I mean, listen, to be called Big Brother makes me seem old now. I mean, you trying to put me under right now, Courtland? Come on now.
And
But it's a pleasure, bro. I'm glad I'm actually able to see you on your own show.
Man, hey, we all got to start somewhere, right?
Yes.
So again, just to give y'all some backstory on my guy Danny, I started with the 3-point conversion, and from day one, Danny was kind of, he kind of took me up under his wing and was like, "Hey, look, this, that, and the third. If you need help, do this." I run articles by him. I ran ideas off of him, sports takes, sports debates. We had it all. The man's been there time and time again. Whenever I need questions, have questions, he's helped me through live events. And then we finally got to actually meet in person at the Black Sports Symposium in Atlanta in July. And it was hey, look, you too talented to do, just to be sitting back and supporting people in comment, sections. You got to do your own thing. And, this is where the halftime show is now birthed. So it's special to have Danny on the show. But Danny, you tell them about yourself.
I mean, wow, what an intro. I have been covering the NBA, since I guess I came out the womb. I've literally been part of basketball literally forever. My background is I started with Real GM back in 2005, writing for the Bobcats. I've worked for other NFL sites. Then I worked at Electronic Arts on the NBA Live series. Madden just released their player ratings for the last couple of weeks. I did player ratings for NBA Live, the live series, for a couple of years. Translated that back into basketball writing. I've had a couple of radio shows, and now I do sports radio up here. I've covered the Charlotte Hornets, Orlando Magic for a number of years, and I've been around the block a few times, actually. So, but, now in this stage is all about not only doing what I do, but getting people, just helping and being around people like Courtland, who's the next wave of the future of sports. So, but for me to do your show, I'm glad to do it because I'm tired of you in my comment box every week.
Hey, I'm still gonna be there, man. So, as y'all know, man, we start off with our quick hit section called the halftime adjustments. Some breaking news just happened. The Browns just, smelling the Rosens out here, man. Josh Rosen is now in Cleveland Brown. As we know, there's still uncertainty surrounding Deshaun Watson. Of course, Baker Mayfield is now with the Cats down in Charlotte. Here, actually, I'm here going live from Charlotte, so he's now here with the Carolina Panthers. And I think it's Joshua Dobbs and Jacoby Brissett that are in that locker room now. But now you add Josh Rosen. So, Danny, what do you see the Cleveland Browns are? What do you think is he just another camp body, or is he a guy that they're actually going to give a chance?
I mean, he's really a body. Josh Rosen, he never got the best. He got kind of a weird end of the stick because when he was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals, he was basically a stopgap quarterback the same way that Steve Wilkes was a stopgap head coach. Basically, he was in a situation in Arizona, it didn't work, and he's bounced around. He's been in Miami. He was in Atlanta last year. Now he's with Carolina this year. We got with Cleveland this year. He's not a threat to Jacoby Brissett's job at all. I think at some point, I think he's really brought in because I think the Browns believe that he's about to get suspended. Watson's going to get suspended for not just 6 games, but it might be longer. So you're going to need another quarterback in the room just in case something goes down, or if you're not 100% that Josh Dobbs is going to be your number 2.
Okay. So, yeah. So, and because when I hear the name Josh Rosen, I automatically think of bust. And he's just never – he's never quite caught on to it seems like the NFL game. Even when he was in Arizona, it seemed like for the preseason, he had some flashes, and it just never panned out.
It's
Yeah,
difficult when you go through multiple quarterbacks and you go through multiple coaches and offensive coordinators and systems and styles in such a young career. It's difficult to change that many times when you're that young and you're still learning the game itself. I think Rosen's 23, 24. And look
yeah,
how many places he's been. He's been a journeyman quarterback before he's had a chance to even start the journey.
right. So that was a breaking news. We did a little bit something different. That's just because that just happened not too long ago. So we wanted to kind of get that out there. Of course, we're a sports talk show, so we want to get y'all the right news at the right time. But let's get into what we came here to talk about, man. We came here to talk about some NBA. LeBron James, man, just can't, decide to roll through the Drew League, man. Dropped 42 points. But people, I think, are overblowing the performance. 42 points, but these are not guys that you're going to go out and see tearing up an NBA arena anytime soon, or putting butts in seats at. I still don't like to call it cryptocurrency arena, but Staples. But these are not those guys. And we've never seen, kind of like the Drew League. To me, the best year of the Drew League was the lockout season of 2011, where you had LeBron, you had KD, you had Kobe, you had Harden, and those guys were all, kind of playing in the Drew League and going at it. And this year was just kind of, now you kind of see these guys spotlighting every so often in a run. But Danny, do you think we people are just kind of overblowing the LeBron performance, or are they giving it way too much weight?
I think when you're LeBron James, you do something in Los Angeles, it just happens to be a story. Now, the real story is DeMar DeRozan was really not shooting the basketball very well, and there were the clips of Stanley Johnson locking down DeMar DeRozan in his own neighborhood. But no, it's basically an updated version of Summer League. We've seen, I think Jamal Crawford scored 45 the other day in the game.
Yeah, his
Seattle
invitational.
in Seattle program, he plays every year. So when I look at these types of games in the summertime, guys just have to get a run, get a sweat in. We talk about guys not doing anything in the summer. LeBron just happened to show up. I needed a run. It's a simple afternoon. He got his 40 in. DeMar got his time in. The Drew League always has a couple of guys that show up every year. The same way happens in Seattle because the Seattle guys go home. It happens in Washington, D.C., and all these different areas where we have these different programs. I mean, even here in Virginia, I'm in the Norfolk area, they have the tournament, the league in Portsmouth starting, I think, next weekend. And Cam Thomas from the Brooklyn Nets is playing in it. So these guys just get their additional run. They get additional reps in. The Lakers really haven't had a long off season in a while. So he needs some energy to expose because he hadn't played in the playoffs in 2 years.
Yeah, and see, that was my thing. Again, I'm 29 years old, and I remember, when the Drew, not remember when it started, but I remember when it first started catching mainstream wind. And I kind of saw it, and I was like, man, is this like a street ball league? Is this a real thing? Is this a thing that like guys are it's like a pro run thing? But then you kind of see what it is, and then you look at the stat line: 2 for 13 from deep. I forgot how many shots he took, but again, it was just and I'm like, the man went out there against former, college guys. Some of them are, local neighborhood legends. DeMar DeRozan, of course, was on his team, and he dropped 42 points, and they only beat the opposing team by 2. But he shot 2 for 13 from 3, and I'm like, he just got up shots, people. Like, it's not, if he wasn't going out there, if you look at the shots he was taking, it's a clip. He does this weird, like, double spin move, step back, and he just chucks it up at the basket, and it almost hit. But I'm like, if that's a game, we know LeBron James is not taking that shot. Like, he's not doing something like that in an actual game. So, and he's also not chucking up 13 from beyond the arc either. So I just think people kind of overblew.
It's guys having fun. Like, these guys are having fun. It is what it is. I mean, we watched LiAngelo Ball play in the Drew League the last couple of years, playing for Big Baller Brand. There are guys that pop in and out. So I think it's just because it's LeBron James. It's the first time he's been playing in the Drew League since 2011. The only place LeBron really hadn't showed up in a while is, if he showed up at Drew this year, he's going to show up at Rucker next year. That's what the East Coast is waiting on. LeBron to show back up at Rucker. So, I don't take much out of it.
Nice. Right. Now, sticking with LeBron James, we're just going to stick in LA here. Reports are that LA, the LA Big Three. I call them the LA 360. Russ, AD, LeBron have made a pact to make it work. Um, of course, there's the conflicting reports that Russ wants out after firing his agent. LeBron James is, of course, beating the table to come join the squad. We don't know what, AD's back in the lab. We've seen the workout videos there. Do you think that they are, if they try to make this work, do you see with the new regime and Darvin Ham and those guys come in and him coming in with his new mindset of, hard defense and ball movement, do you think they can make it work at least to win maybe 40 games, if not 45 this year?
I think it takes buy-in. It takes buy-in. It takes help from Anthony Davis. It takes help from LeBron James, because Westbrook is going to play a good amount of games. I think when I say buy-in, they're going to have to buy into Darvin Ham. They're going to have to buy into the system. That means Russell Westbrook, if there's stuff that he has to buy into, which should be take less shots and become more aggressive, go back to the defensive Russell Westbrook that came into the NBA, where he was a defensive terror in the first few years he was in the league. If he goes back to that mindset, we all, LeBron can still defend. Anthony Davis has to be on the floor. They're going to have to find guys around him that are going to make shots. I mean, Malik Monk is now gone, so one of your better three-point shooters is off the roster. Can Lonnie Walker fill that role? He's a better scorer, but can he fill that shooter role? We still have questions. There's still questions about the big man position. The Lakers roster isn't what it is, but it really just depends on Anthony Davis's health. If Davis is healthy and LeBron's healthy, this team should be right around maybe 6 or 7. But until they can figure out some other things in this roster, like get some roster balance, it's going to have to work. I mean, that's what we're looking at. That's maybe the ceiling of the Lakers is 500, maybe a couple of games over 500. I can't see them being in the upper part of the West unless somebody gets hurt.
Right, and that was my thing when I seen the report of they made a pact on the phone. It kind of gave me glimpses of last year where it was, hey, I'm gonna do what I have to do. I'm gonna do what I have to do, and I'm gonna sacrifice if I have to. And we didn't see that. So it's one of those things where it's you got to show me, and I have to see it happen before I believe the reports. So we're gonna go over to the East Coast, staying in the West, but we're going over to the East Coast. Knicks are the only team that are in the mix for Donovan Mitchell. But there's rumblings that Danny Ainge wants 7 to 8 picks. The Jazz just got 5 picks. I felt like it was an overshoot for Rudy Gobert, but they got 5 picks, and then he's asking for another 7 to 8 picks for Donovan Mitchell, which we know, Donovan Mitchell possibly lands in New York, if anywhere. Is that a possibility?
I think, of course, anything in life, we always shoot high. We're going to shoot for the highest thing possible, and the Knicks can give up 8 first-rounders at this point because they acquired 3 on draft night, plus you have the picks that belong to you, and you have nothing going out the front door. I mean, they still have a Dallas first-rounder, which will probably convey this year. They have a future Washington first-rounder, and they have a pick they acquired from Detroit. So they have first-rounders they can get rid of, so that's why the maximum 8 is on the board. And they have Milwaukee's first-rounder 25 as well. So they have picks they can move. The real question is 8 going to be the number? I don't think 8's going to be the number. I think it'll come up with 6. I think it'll be 6 first-rounders when it's all said and done. I think the Knicks will use everybody else's pick going out the door. And I think that intrigues Danny Ainge more than taking all the Knicks picks because these picks fall in different spots and these picks be conveyed at different years. So that's the most important. I think Ainge will end up with 6. And that's still going to be a quiet haul for Donovan Mitchell.
Right. And see, my thing is when I hear the number 8, you're like, you just got 5 for Rudy Gobert. So it's kind of our team selling out. And it just gives me I know the Knicks are trying to put butts in seats. They're trying to make a better product for the fans in New York. Shout out to my father who's a Knicks fan. But it just, to me, when I see Donovan Mitchell and then with, Brunson being there, it's just a really undersized backcourt, and it makes me wonder.
I think when you look
trying to win, or did they? Go ahead.
No, I'm saying.
I was saying
go ahead.
I was just saying it just makes me wonder: are they trying to win, or are they just going for the wow factor of names and electrifying play? But it's not to say it won't work. We've seen it work before.
I think with the Knicks, so look at the perspective of the Knicks. It's like this. It's you're bringing Donovan Mitchell in. He's the guy that's going to be the one taking the clutch shot. He's from New York City. He's from the area. He's a Mets fan. His dad was, his dad's part of I think he was part of the Mets organization. So his base is he's won a state championship inside the Garden. He's built for this moment in New York City. Donovan Mitchell is. So once again, it's kind of playing to the hometown boy coming home type of theory with Carmelo Anthony, for example. Will it work? I mean, 2 6'1" guards. We watched that in Portland for years with even a little bit bigger Damian Lillard and a bigger CJ McCollum, and we saw how it turned out. New York just wants to be relevant. And Knicks fans want to be able to say bing bong after the first round of the playoffs. That's what they want to do. They want to be able to be relevant. And in any situation, it really just depends on what the Knicks send out the door. I'm going to say that the Knicks would rather send Julius Randle to Utah than having to give up a package that would include Obi Toppin. And also, it would be able to save some roster spots. Now, for the Jazz, you were mentioning, why do the Jazz want all these first-round picks? Well, if you think about the Jazz and where they were literally 4 months ago, the Jazz never got to the conference finals with the team they had. They never got Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert and Bogdanovic and Jordan Clarkson and Mike Conley. They never got there. Even with the best record in the West that one year, they never got to the conference finals. They never got over the hump. So you bring in Danny Ainge. And Danny Ainge has nothing to do with this roster. He didn't build this roster. He didn't construct this roster. Quinn Snyder was let go a year early out of his contract. You knew the rebuild was coming. This is a very similar rebuild to what Danny Ainge acquired in Boston when he traded Paul Pierce, he traded Kevin Garnett, he traded Jason Terry, traded all the veterans for a multitude of draft picks over the years. Now, when you have a lot of draft picks, you're going to hit eventually. They hit with Jason Tatum. They hit with Jaylen Brown. They were bad enough to get Marcus Smart. So the Jazz, if they end up with the 5 first rounders they got from Minnesota, I'd say 6 because Walker Kessler was just drafted this year. So if you get those picks, plus you get the arsenal of picks that you're going to get from the Knicks, plus your own picks, which are going to be bad for the next few years anyway, the Jazz are going to be in a really good rebuilding situation. And even with all that, they still haven't traded Mike Conley. They still haven't traded Jordan Clarkson. They still haven't traded Bogdanovic, which I know if Royce O'Neal goes for a first-round pick, I know those 3 guys can probably go for a first-round pick as well too. Ainge is stockpiling. And what he's going to do is he's either going to stockpile them over years because he's not going to take them all at one time, and then be able to make trades, be able to package picks and move up in drafts some years. To be honest with you, the Jazz are being bad for one reason, and that's Victor Wembanyama from France. They want the 7'3" kid from France. I just saw a video the other day where he crossed over somebody and almost dropped him on the floor at 7'3", 245, 250.
Yeah, he's making shots from behind the basket. And in closing, Danny just mentioned the 3 names that I've seen in multiple reports saying that the Lakers could try to acquire. They could try to dump those and take on an expiring contract in Russell Westbrook. Again, we just don't know because that is a bad contract. But
your Lakers don't want to give the 27 and 29 pick unprotected. That's going to be the aspect. If the Jazz want it, 27 and 29 are going to be unprotected. Right. And you might have to swap 28.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope out here, man, for my LA team. So again, man, that was our halftime adjustments. It's time to get into these main topics. We're staying in the NBA, of course. As y'all know, we're talking NBA news and topics. The NBA has been rumored to be wanting to lower the eligibility age for declaring for the draft. This would open up guys coming straight out of high school again, a la Kobe Bryant, Dwight Howard, J.R. Smith, and of course LeBron James, and those many names that we've seen come into the league from high school and do well. Do you feel like this is a good thing for the NBA to look into doing?
I really don't think it's going to happen. And the reason I think is that because what's happened the last 2 years has been the success of G League Ignite when it comes to the high school kids. We've watched The last couple of years, we watched guys like Dyson Daniels, who came overseas, and he was drafted in the first round, top 10 pick this year. And we have Scoot Henderson, who's playing in G League Ignite this year, who's literally the number 2 overall player in the draft, who's going to go second in the draft this year. They've had a very, very high success rate when it comes to bringing these kids over from the high school side. Now, if you lower the age requirement, so what does that mean? You're going to have a lot more guys who are not ready for the NBA and a lot more projects, which means, guess what? Teams are going to be bad once again. And I think if the players are going to succeed on getting this age lowered, don't think the owners are not going to beat them over the head when it comes to something else. The real question when it comes to the CBA coming up in 24-25 is who is going to control the BPI, which is otherwise known as the basketball index, which is coming to the profit, the money basically. Who is going to have the higher split? The players own the BPI right now. The owners want it back. The question is, what will the players give in concession to give the owners some of that power back? And that's where it really comes into play. But I think if we see anything, Courtland, I'll be honest with you, I think the NBA might even start a league that will be kind of a buffer league. Mm-hmm. If we're seeing the success of G League Ignite, that means we might get a second G League team. We might get a second Ignite team, to play another schedule of getting more players exposed, to get into the NBA. And then guess what? NIL money happens in college. So guess what? Players have more options, because if you don't think you could play for the G League for a year, go to college and go make a whole bunch of NIL money, and guess what? Then turn pro the next year. But I don't see the age changing because now high school kids have more options than ever to be able to get money before they turn pro.
Right. And that was my thing. When you say lowering the eligibility age, I look at guys like you have LeBron James, and we see and I need people just to when we was talking about this, go look at the body types. Kobe Bryant had lollipop body coming into the league. He was all head, these little scrawny shoulders. He was a 6'6" frame, but it wasn't filled out. It wasn't the Kobe Bryant that you saw in the three-peat. It wasn't the Kobe Bryant that you saw in 2009, 2010. That Kobe Bryant had matured and got his grown man weight. LeBron James that you see now could eat LeBron James in 2003, 3 times over.
And LeBron was 250 when he got in the league.
Right. Well, yeah, but you know what I'm saying? But he wasn't the same body composition that he is now. His body's a lot more developed. Kevin Garnett, go look at Kevin Garnett from the time he got in the league to the time before he left. And it was 2 totally different body types. And when I see this, it kind of makes me, like you said, the quality of the product gets watered down at that moment, because you're going to get this kid who's 16, 17 years old. You already got guys who are coming in the league and they're saying, well, this guy's 20, he's only 20, or he's only 19. And then he look at Chet Holmgren. He's what, 20, 21?
Somewhere around there. Yeah, 2020.
Somewhere around there. I think he just did 1 year in college. So I think he's like 19, 20. And look at his body. He's probably not going to gain any more weight.
But see, but that's kind of like an anomaly. Chet Holmgren.
Right. But I'm just using the body type. So I'm saying just imagine a bunch of Chet Holmgrens at guard positions and center positions getting thrown up under the basket. You're not going to see guys like Andrew Bynum coming in the league anymore where they're grown men.
I think the other part is, I think because the game has changed so much, I think the heavier, sturdier guys don't really exist as much as the more nimble guys. But I think the thing is with the age is that you need to have, if you're going to lower the age, then you need to change the requirements for the G League. And and be able to have more players in a farm system type of capability. What about this? I mean, maybe adding another round or 2 in the draft, so teams could take guys that they want to be able to develop in their system even more than the G League guys they have now. So we can get a true farm system, or maybe, just maybe, the NBA is thinking, like I said before, maybe what about a developmental league for guys who do not want to go to high school and not ready for do not want to go to college and aren't ready for the NBA. You play a year there, and then guess what? Like Dyson, it's like you get thrown in the draft the following year. And you get that year of development, you get that year around trainers and coaches and everything else. But I can't see it without being a major concession from the players giving something back to the owners. Especially, it's too much to gamble because there's a television contract involved in it coming soon, the NBA, and we got expansion coming. That's so much money that I can't see the players giving up the BPI to the owners just because they want to let an 18-year-old kid in the league.
And see, my thing is, and if NBA owners, any of you guys, any of you coaches are watching the halftime show, please go take this to the league office. I think they should do something called the YPED, which is a Youth Prospect Evaluation Division, right? If you got a guy like a LeBron James or Kevin Garnett, a guy who you feel like, hey, this guy can make the jump, there should be a division that goes out and is separate from any NBA team, right? They have their own scouts that go out to these schools. They scout this kid out. Hey, look, we feel like he's ready. He can make the jump. We're going to send the scouting reports out to all 32 teams. And if you want to pick him, you can. They talk with the parents or whatever. They create like a buffer between the parents and the league. Hey, we feel like your kid can make this jump. We feel like he may be ready. We're going to give you the option. He can make the jump or he can go to college. We're not going to make him ruin his eligibility. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of like that. But that may be a bit of a stretch. I don't know how the logistics of that would work. But I felt like when I heard that, I was like, that would be something that I could see kind of being something that could be an option if the logistics work out for it.
It sounds like it's like a Major League Baseball type of thing where if you get drafted, you can go. If not, you can go to college afterwards or so on and so forth and go back in 2 years. Right. Like I said, that takes a lot of logistics. I just think, to be honest with you, I think you just keep status quo. I think what you do is one of the things that G League Ignite has done in the beginning was they only took a certain number of high school kids and kids that were not international kids. I think what happens is you might field a full team of these kids now because they had veterans and they had a mix of veterans, they had a mix of younger kids. I mean, at some point, maybe
wasn't Jarrett Jack on that team?
It's for the first year, yeah. Jarrett Jack, guys like Jarrett Jack, the experienced veterans, we're still looking for another shot in the league. We're playing on this team. Maybe open up a second G League team, another Ignite team to play, wherever how they fit this because they're still trying to go 30, the 1-to-1 ratio team. I think I said I just can't see the younger guys coming in. Not without the players giving up something to the owners. This is too close to the Courtlandt. The expansion number is going to be high. The TV number is going to be high. And if the NBA really gets into streaming, like Amazon or Apple, any of those services for League Pass, it's going to go through the roof even higher.
Right. And you know what I want? I'm trying to get Nashville an NBA team, y'all. But speaking of the guy who actually makes these decisions and the guy that sits at the top of the NBA, the face of the NBA, Adam Silver. He's made some comments and he's kind of flexing his muscle. I think he's, kind of doing his best David Stern impression. He's unhappy and fed up with the landscape of the NBA as it pertains to the superstars. He says, and I quote, "I'm realistic. There's always conversations that are going to be held behind closed doors between the players and the representatives of teams. But we don't like to see players requesting trades, and we don't like to see it playing out the way it has." What do you take from his comments with the given player movement that we've seen in the past few years, and then with the situation that we see in Brooklyn going on right now?
I mean, this has almost been an every summer thing. It seemed like every year a superstar is looking to be moved at some point in time. We've watched James Harden get moved multiple times. We saw Kevin Durant ask for a trade this summer. We watched Kyrie Irving ask for, these are reports that get asked for trades. It's to the point where these guys like Ben Simmons, he basically sat out. I mean, he might have been hurt. We don't know how bad it was. But we know it was a back injury, but he sat the entire season last year because he didn't want to play in Philadelphia any longer. I think Adam Silver, this is going to be the thin line. It's a very, very thin line trying to balance, okay, how do we enforce players to stay in contracts that they sign with, I need to get out of an unhappy situation. That's something the players are always going to have to get together, where it be kind of like when DeAndre Ayton signed his extension with the Phoenix Suns this summer. He got matched. Well, Ayton can't be traded. He has a no trade clause for the next 1 year, and the Suns can't even trade him to December. You're not going to stop players from talking to each other and representatives talking to each other, because you're going to end up having 32 different agents for every team. Guys share agents. Guys play. This is part of the AAU culture. I play with you in AAU, or I play with you in the FIBA. In FIBA World Championships. These guys know each other. They guys work out together. They have the same trainers. They have the same people they work with in the offseason. So players coming together will always be players coming together. It's just at a rate now because player empowerment is so big now. players have more power than they've ever had in any point in time in the NBA. So at this point, so what can you do as an owner? I cut the check, and so doesn't want to be here. Well, I think there will be parameters put in the CBA where a player can't be moved for at least one full season after signing an extension. If you get the max deal, you have to serve at least a year with the team. Like it's good. I think that's going to come. The owner or the owners are going to stop cutting these massive checks, without some kind of guarantee of losing on an investment. Now, at the same time, if that happens, if a player is kept in the city for a year, then that team can't also entertain trades either, because you don't want a Blake Griffin situation either. Blake re-signed with the Clippers, thinking he was going to be a Clipper for a very long time, and got traded 6 months later to all places, Detroit. You go from LA to Detroit. No offense to Detroit, but if you wake up the sun every day and you wake up in Detroit the next day, you ain't too happy about that. So I think
you get a DeMarcus Cousins situation where he doesn't know he gets traded, and he's in the middle of a post-game press conference, and the reporter asks him, "How do you feel about your trade?"
Yeah, but the one thing, DeMarcus wanted out of Sacramento anyway. So right. I'll never forget that press conference, because the guy whispered in his ear, he's like, "You got traded," and DeMarcus was like, "Word? New Orleans." And he was happy about it. But I think what happens is going to be a clause in these contracts. If you're going to sign a supermax deal, if you're going to sign a contract, that you're going to at least spend 1 year. I mean, that's going to be the going rate. I mean, if Kevin Durant's trade request is completely 100% accurate, like I said, there have been conflicting reports from different writers and different people in different parts of the organization. If that report is 100% true, Durant didn't play 1 minute on that 4-year, $196 million contract he signed. And Mike's right. There is no loyalty in sports. I mean, it's no loyalty either way. There's going to have to be some things loyal from the players that are given to the owners, and one thing from the owners give to the players. I think it's going to be a hot button topic when we get to CBA. Adam just wants to be able to keep stars and locations. Who wants to keep buying jerseys of your favorite player changing every 6 months? American Express is going to lose a lot of money on this jersey protection thing when they you protect your jersey for 1 year. So how this is going to get fixed is a slippery slope, because you go one way, it's going to turn to the owners. You go one way, it turns to the players. You're going to have to figure out something. I mean, I think there's going to have to be protections where a guy can't be moved for at least a year.
Yeah. So, and then my thing is this, right? Like you mentioned the CBA, which I think is up in 24, 25. Mm-hmm. So that's up for deliberation and debate. I was saying maybe you see a more of a model, because we know for a while, like the NFL was trying to get the NBA contract structure, which is, I guess, like more guaranteed, or I guess their contracts are completely guaranteed for the life of the contract. Mm-hmm. But I could maybe see the owners, maybe like you said, the way they get that BPI and get that power index flipped is, hey, yeah, you can sign this supermax deal of $250 million, $280 million, $300 million. We know the cap is going to continuously rise as TV contracts and stuff go up, but we're only going to guarantee so much up front. You know what I mean? And you guys can keep the player movement, but this number also drops if you switch teams. So if you sign a supermax here in LA, and you want to trade, and you get traded to New York, well, your $250 now turns into $180.
I mean, but see, like I said, at that point, you're going to have a bunch of unhappy players at that point. I mean, I think if you do anything like that, I think what happens is you take away the guarantee. You would have to talk about taking away the guaranteed money if you're going to do something. That's what I was saying. Like maybe and then if you go to any player that has guaranteed money and say we're not going to guarantee your money, you're headed for a lockout, and not just any lockout. This will be the lockout of all lockouts. We thought the 50-game season was bad. It's going to be worse than the 50-game season. These guys might not even hit the floor. You will if you tell a player that's been getting guaranteed money, and you say, well, you can sign these contracts and you're not going to be guaranteed, bro. You're literally asking for Armageddon at this point, because there's no going back when it's guaranteed. That's why the NFL is taking so long on guaranteed contracts for every player, because once you start guaranteeing money in a professional sports, there is no turning back. That is the final wall that you're not going to pass. So
And
I can't see any player. I can't see the NBA PA. I don't care if it's Chris Paul. I don't care if it's the 23rd man on the bench. There's no way possible that the players will go for non-guaranteed money under any circumstances, because guess what? If you have non-guaranteed money, and yes, you can put all this money up front and guys can get cut as they need to, this ain't gonna work. Nah, guys need security, but the problem is financial security. That's really what it is.
got you. And that's what I was saying. I said it's just spitballing ideas.
No,
We don't
I mean,
know.
I think that's what happens in negotiations. I think when we get down with Tamika Trillo and then CJ McCollum, and they sit down with the owners, like I said, in 3 or 4 years, when we get to this point, there's going to have to be conversations about each part and what the owners are willing to take and what the players are willing to take, because it is setting a dangerous precedent in this league that the most powerful players in the league can say after 12 months, I don't want to be here. And the owner just cut this humongous check, and you're selling to a fan base, I have this guy here for X amount of years, and he doesn't even want to be here.
Right.
So there's going to have to be something. There's going to be give and take. I just don't know how far it is going to have to be give and take, because all I know is when the new CBA gets here, the owners are out for blood. And that's where the point is. They don't want a negative BPI any longer. That's where we're at here.
Right. And speaking of, like I said, the CBA is up in 2024-25. So once we get, like you said, once CJ McCollum and the other parties get together, we'll see what happens. Hopefully there's not another lockout, but we just talked about the Drew League. We saw a lockout season.
No, you don't want that.
Exploding. So,
I think we're going to get. I think we'll have a peaceful labor negotiation, because the reason why we have peaceful labor negotiations is because as you look at Adam Silver and his expression on your screen, he sees expansion.
Yeah,
that's what the NBA is waiting for, expansion, because Seattle. I think it's going to be Seattle and Las Vegas. I really think it's going to be those
two Stars. Nashville Stars.
Here's the thing: Seattle's going to get one. Seattle's going to get one
for sure. The Sonics are coming back.
They're going to get one. Nashville's not big enough a market compared to Vegas.
True.
And
so
the other part is
Las Vegas Aces and the Vegas Blackjacks.
I don't know the Las Vegas. I mean, you have the Aces. What about the Spades? Las Vegas Spades. The Spades. I think what's going to happen is by the time we get to 24 and 25, I don't think LeBron James is going to be playing in 24 and 25. And I really think when it comes down to it, LeBron's going to want ownership. And I think he'll get it in Vegas, because LeBron has the trump card. He already has the financial backing behind him to have a team. It's not the fact that he's a billionaire. He's got the Fenway Group behind him.
Yeah.
He's part of the Fenway Group, and the Fenway Group has already said, we own a team, and the only thing we do not own is the NBA. They want an NBA team. LeBron James wants ownership.
And he's got a bargaining chip because he can draft his son. So
he's gonna play with his son first. He might sign him though.
Yeah. But speaking of, like I said, we got guys in player movement, but we got to speak about the guys that are now coming into the league that are guaranteed to be with their teams for at least the next 4 to 5 years. And that's those rookies, man. We just had the Summer League. The Summer League is just now dwindling down. These guys have come in. We've seen highlights. We've seen some inadequacies. We've seen some guys put some really gaudy numbers up in the Summer League, and that's what it's there for. We've seen some guys underperform, and this is a routine thing, but we're going to go for the over-under for the 2022-23 season. We're going to start with the number 2 overall pick, man, Chet Holmgren. He averaged 4 blocks per game in the Summer League. Danny, over-under 2 blocks a game for Chet Holmgren.
I think it's going to be right under. I mean, I think he'll be right at 2 a game. I don't know if he's going to hit over 2. And the reason I say that is because if you look at the NBA blocks leaders, with the exception of Miles Turner, who blocks shots at enormously high rate, it really is right around that 2 number. Rudy Gobert has been the 2 number for the last couple of years. If anybody can break 2 a game consistently, it's Holmgren. I really need to see how Oklahoma City is going to use him. Is he going to be more of a 4 that's going to fly around the court and kind of be like the weak side shot blocker? If he's a weak side shot blocker, then 2 a game is going to be easy for him because of his length and his ability to cover the floor with his size and length. If he is down low, I don't know if he's going to get his two a game because, I mean, we talk about the physicality in the league. He's not as physical as everybody else, but if he is going to be a weak side shot blocker and a weak side defender, two a game might be over. He was like almost 2.5 probably. But I'm gonna take the under for right now. I'd say right around 1.8.
Cool. And I said that. I said that too. I said maybe 1.9. I gave him 1.9 right at 2.
Mike, that's gonna be 6. The elbows.
Yeah, he got bullied by Kenny Lofton Jr., who was the undrafted rookie from Memphis. And
you know what? Let me speak on that because people were drilling Chet. Oh, he got bodied by a guy that was undrafted. A lot of people don't know that Kenneth Lofton Jr. and Chet Holmgren played on the same United States under 18 team that won the gold medal. Lofton was the best player on that team. Yeah, he was the Charles Barkley of that team.
He was dominant in college. I was surprised that he didn't go in the draft.
It's the size. But one thing that happens when you play against a guy before, he played against him. They practiced together. They were together for a while, so he knows Chet's game. He knows it, and Lofton is every bit of Zach Randolph. He's Zach Randolph.
Yeah, he's Zebo.
He's Zebo to me. And so when people say, he got bodied by some unknown guy. No, this guy is well known. They played together. Yeah, no. They know each other's game. So I didn't find that to be surprising. I didn't.
No, I didn't either. I just had to throw the fact that he was undrafted, which is crazy to me. I don't see how he was undrafted. But we're going to move on to Paolo Banchero, guy out of Duke. Can't believe I just said that. But he was 25-6 in the summer league, over under 27-5 for his staff.
That's under. It's under. 27-5. No, he's not going to hit 20 points a game as a rookie. Orlando has guys who can score. I think what happens with Paolo is that because they have guys like Cole Anthony, they have guys like Franz Wagner, they have guys like Wendell Carter Jr., and Carter Jr. has been a double-double machine since he's been in Orlando. I think Paolo's numbers, if he hits any of those, I definitely think he might get closer to the 5 assists more than anything else. I think rookie year numbers for Paolo is going to be right around 16. I'd say right around 7.5, right around 4 assists a game. Because Wendell Carter Jr. is a 10 rebound a game guy. They brought Mo Bamba back. Jonathan Isaac, when he ever decides to hit the floor, is going to be on this team as well too. So I'm going to say under in all of them, but he might hit assists more than anything else.
Yeah, I said under as well, but I didn't go that far. I said 17.5. I think he has the ability to score. I think he's mobile. He can do it all. He's strong enough to grab rebounds. He's got a slightly less. I think his body needs to gain some more muscle, but that's just me. When you play that position, he's a 4, listed as a 4. I just think you need to gain a little bit more. But the way the game is going, guys are getting smaller. He's a little bit more athletic. So
I think he's the most NBA ready body of any of the rookies that we have.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I guess I just think with Orlando having to figure out who's going to score. I think he'll get close to that 17, 18 point a game scoring average. I think he does lead the rookies in score. I think he'll be top 2 in scoring among rookies.
Right. So moving on to another guy, Jabari Smith, who's a guy that people thought had a chance to go in the top 2.
Number
and he shot 44% in the summer league from deep. So over under 38% this year from deep.
I think we're looking right about even. I think he'll be 38, 39%. When I look at Jabari Smith, I know he's super athletic. One of the things Jabari had was he could shoot the basketball. He was a good 3-point shooter in college. His body type reminds me so much of Rashard Lewis. Just a little bit more springiness to him, a little bit better defensively. But I think I'll take the over. I think he's right around 38 to 39% from deep. I think he'll get some open looks. And with Jalen Green going to the basket, Kevin Porter Jr., guys that can get to the basket, he's going to get some wide open looks from deep. So I say 38, 39%.
Yeah, I said 39. And the 44% I thought was a little lofty. But the stroke is there, the touch is there, the ability to shoot from range is there. So I think in Houston, like you said, he's going to get a lot of opportunities because Jalen Green and those guys are going to open the floor, and it looks like they're going to go more for a more open, more spaced out offense.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll get his opportunities there. We're gonna go with Keegan Murray here, who's with the Kings, I believe. I believe he's with Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
He went off in summer league and he had he had a monster game. I think within like the first two games, he had a monster game. Ended up averaging 21.7 in the summer league, over under 22 points per game for Keegan Murray.
Under. I think he might not be the fourth leading scorer in Sacramento this year. Because when you look at De'Aaron Fox, you look at Sabonis, you look at Harrison Barnes, they have guys who can score. Davion Mitchell, who will get more playing time this year. Rashard Holmes, they have guys who can score. Like I said, we have mentioned Sabonis. I think right around maybe 9 to 11 points a game, if we're really being honest with you. I think Keegan does a lot of the small intangible things that we don't see on the board. He's a very good shooter. He knows where to space on the floor, but he's going to have to. I don't know if he's even going to start day one because Harrison Barnes is still on this roster. And then Sacramento got Kevin Huerter. So they got Kevin Huerter in the offseason. So he added more shooting depth. So I don't think Murray might not even start opening night. So to be 22 points a game and not starting opening night, I don't think that's even close. Like I said, he'd be lucky to get double digits as a rookie.
All right. And I said I kept him. I gave him I had some hope there for him. I said he would go under, but not really not far under. I said he'd probably go around 20. That was just me. I just felt like what I saw in the summer league was a very good scorer who knows how to get to his spots. A lot of the guys in the summer league that when I was watching it didn't seem to know how to get to their spots. They seemed to kind of be going off of the raw ability. But Keegan Murray seemed to know where he wanted to get to, how to get there, and where to put his shots. And that was surprising to me because he was a guy that
could do what? Yeah, go ahead.
He was just a guy that I didn't have on my radar at first, but he plays with a lot of IQ and that tenacity that you want to see from a guy who has his abilities.
But I will say this: you didn't mention him on the board, but I will tell you that Jaden Ivey will lead all rookies in scoring this year.
You know what? And I thought to put him on this list, but I didn't. You know, I just kind of wanted to keep it to some, to
Top
a
four.
certain amount of guys. But I do want to mention one guy who's not a rookie, but he could get some more playing time. And Moses Moody, man, Moses Moody was 27.5 points per game. I think it's his second year in the league. He was a rookie, I believe, last year. Over under 14 points per game for the second year player Moses.
Actually, it's his third year coming up because you got to think he came in
third year.
Yeah, came in Wiseman. It's under. It's not even close. He won't even double digits because he's stuck. You got to think in an offense that has Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole. He'll be lucky to see the floor.
And they just added Mac McClung, which is another guard.
McClung will be in the G League. I'm not worried about that. Right. But when I look at Moody, I think Moses Moody is the future. If the Warriors continue and stay the course. Okay. So Moody. This is second year. He came with Kuminga. I'm sorry. He came with Wiseman. But no, for a second year guy, he's the future. The real question is, I think Moses Moody will make his impact when it comes to if the Golden State Warriors keep Jordan Poole next summer. If Jordan's Poole numbers gets to be extreme, they can let Moody just take Jordan Poole's spot because eventually either Poole or Moody's going to take Klay Thompson's spot eventually. So I think Moody's going to stay another year. They're going to figure out what to do with Jordan Poole. If Poole gets to be overpriced, Poole leaves and Moody takes his spot. But he'll still be a rotational, every third, fourth, ninth blowout type of guy still.
Gotcha. And so those were our main topics. Danny, I'm gonna move you off the camera real quick. We're gonna get this good old pep talk for my guy John Morant going, and then I'm gonna bring you back. Right? So give me 1 second here. We're gonna move my guy Danny off the page. He's gonna be back, guys. He's not going anywhere. So of course, y'all know what we do here on the halftime show. I gotta call certain players, certain guys, execs into my office and give them a pep talk before we go into the second half. John Morant made some comments, and some people tried to pack my man up And I need to tell y'all something. Ja, hey, look, keep that confidence, young man. Look, I don't mind you saying that you will cook MJ because I believe that you could cook MJ. Look, let them know. Don't let the slender frame fool you. You're not afraid of nobody. You ain't backing down. You got that Memphis in you. So I need you to keep that dog in your heart because Memphis need that, right? I just need you to stay healthy. But don't lose that confidence, Ja. Get better. You've gotten better. You was the most improved player. I argue that you could have been an MVP had you stayed healthy and played more than 57 games. And I think that you should come out this year and show them that there wasn't a fluke. That you finished what? I think they finished number 2 in the West last year. Show them it wasn't a fluke. Show them that y'all for real, and show them that them comments and that confidence ain't empty, right? Show them that you a Memphis Grizzly at your heart and that you're there for the long haul. Keep that going. I love it. I love the tenacity. I love the Memphis Grizzlies. Despite my Laker fandom, I do love the Memphis Grizzlies, and I love what Ja brings to the table. So Ja, stay up. Checking out from the halftime show, Courtlandt Griffin, man. Keep that tenacity and that confidence. All right, we're gonna bring my guy Danny back to the show. So this is where we do our closing remarks. Of course, Danny, can you let them know where to find you?
Listen, you can follow me on Twitter at Danny DANY number 3 Thompson on Twitter. My show, which is Sports Insight 757 with Jay Lee, Saturday mornings from 9 to 11 on Sports Radio 850, 96.5 FM in Norfolk, Virginia, or the 757 Hampton Roads area. If you're not in the area, we do have the live stream every Saturday on the Sports Radio 850 page. Otherwise, you can download the app in the Google Play Store. It'll be Sports Radio 850, also Apple Store, and every place else. And you can catch me also contribute with the 3pointconversion.com and 3Point Conversion's website. And I'm here, there, and everywhere else you can find me.
And any closing remarks, man? Anything you want to mention, in closing?
Courtland, it's funny because we talk about the Black Sports Symposium that Courtland and I attended. Mike Patton in the chat attended. It was one of the most, it was an event that, like I said, I think I mentioned on a place before. It was a chance for all of us to get together. Now, mind you, we didn't have the entire crew with us. We could have been deeper than what it was. It was like 7 of us there. And it was a chance for all of us to be in one environment, to laugh, joke, talk sports and do debates and things that we've never done before. Like I said, I've known Mike for years. Mike and I have met. This like the second time I think Mike and I ever met. Courtland's first meeting, I had met for the first time. Meeting with Raylan and Ty Ray, and like I said, I've known Eric Wilson for years. I've known Rodney Richardson, and so these people that you see on these podcasts and video blogs and video shows that we had a chance to get together and network and just have those things. So I've watched Courtland grow from a sports pup. Now he's now inside the doghouse now. So we got to get him out there, but it's great to see his development your development from day one to where you are now, and I can only imagine where you're going to be 12 months from now.
I appreciate it, man, and I'm trying. What I mean, my man's Danny always bigging me up, man. I know anytime I need some help, what I mean, I know this man is going to be on my back, my corner, man, holding me up. So, man, Danny. If I ain't never told you before, man, I appreciate you to the utmost, man. And when I do make it, and I am going to make it, believe me, I'm gonna let them know, like, hey, that man is the reason why, man. And if I ain't missing nobody, man, hey, shout out to Raphael Haynes, man. We just finished doing the ACC kickoff. Shout out to that man.
Birthday boy.
Yeah, man. Happy birthday to him. Shout out to Mike Patton, Kyle Nash, all of these guys, man. Like, I love all y'all, man. Yo,
that's
Mike
just how
always.
But, his graduation speech. Nah, I mean,
that's hilarious.
It's funny, but it's great. Like I said, as far as the NBA goes, NBA is fun. I mean, it's kind of the dull and boring season. Except for your Lakers fan, you keep checking and refreshing your button to see if Russell Westbrook's not on your roster anymore. But it will be funny, and I hope this happens, that Russell Westbrook makes every Laker fan eat his words this season.
Oh, I hope so.
If Westbrook goes for a triple-double this year and the Lakers are still trash, then it's not Westbrook's fault.
No, then it's something else. But Yeah, man. But in closing, guys, you know what I mean? We can sit here and we can talk NBA all day. You know what I'm saying? We can talk sports all day. This show can end up being 6, 7 hours if we wanted it to be. But y'all know we like to keep it short and sweet. That's been the halftime show with your boy Courtlandt Griffin with my special guest, my big brother. You know what I mean? Much love to him, Danny Thompson. You can find me on 3 point conversion. We just finished, like I said, the ACC kickoff. Y'all can find our interviews with Virginia, North Carolina, uh, Miami. Also, if you go to the ACC network, your boys was out there killing it. We had our faces all over that thing. And then also check the 3 point conversion, man, the Facebook page and all of that to see our personal one-on-one interviews with all of the ACC teams, those players and those guys who treated us so well there. Also, find me on Twitter at DC Griffey. You can also find this show here. It will be pinned at the top of the page. And then you can also check out my YouTube channel, Courtlandt Griffin. Just search for Courtlandt Griffin or The Halftime Show on YouTube. You can watch this show and the previous 3 episodes. And that's been, like I said, The Halftime Show with Courtlandt Griffin. Also, check my hashtag. It's HT with WITCG. Y'all know that's Must See TV. I'm the best in the nation. We checking out. Peace.